Miss Hernandez says when she met Mr. Ramirez, she knew his Spanish was bad. Unfortunately for her, so was his credit, his work ethic, and his ability to be faithful. Today on Divorce Court.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding.
Welcome, everyone. You may be seated.
Your Honor, the case of Hernandez v. Ramirez.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez and Mr. Ramirez. Glad to have you here in Divorce Court, and welcome everyone to Divorce Court. This young couple met 4 years ago, and they have been looking towards marriage. But for some reason, Ms. Hernandez is hesitant to walk down the aisle. Let's see why. Ms. Hernandez, why are we in Divorce Court?
I am fed up with my relationship with Alberto. He's financially abusive, a liar, cheater. I have given him an ultimatum. If he fails the lie test, then I'm done. I'm done for good with the relationship.
You ready to walk away?
I'm ready.
Mr. Ramirez, you heard what Ms. Hernandez says. This is your fiancé. What do you say?
Your Honor, I want to save this relationship, and I realize, you know what, I've made mistakes, but I want to get the help to work with my finances, and at the end of the day, I want to keep the girl of my dreams.
So we'll see if that relationship can, in fact, be saved. Why don't we come to you, Ms. Hernandez? You brought this case. Take me back to when there were happier times when you first met.
I was born and raised in Cuba. I met him 2 years after I got here.
Oh, so you were a new immigrant to the U.S.?
Yes.
Excellent.
I've been here for 6 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. We met in an open mic. He's a singer and rapper, and he was performing there. And he is a very charming man, so that caught my attention. We talked that day. We exchanged our socials. We started dating at the beginning of 2021, and things went really fast. And by July, we were already living together.
You know, that's kind of quick. I always say to young couples, y'all might want to do more dating and less mating that early on, you know what I'm saying? So that you get to know somebody. But listen, that ship has already sailed and you're together. And so, okay, everything is sounding like daffodils and daisies, which is how I like it to start. What went wrong, Ms. Hernandez?
At the beginning of the relationship, we were like 2 months in. He asked me to pick him up at a friend's house.
Did you consider yourself exclusive at the point?
Yes.
This point, okay.
At that point, we're already dating.
Okay.
So I go and I pick him up. Everything is fine. A couple weeks later, he tells me, hey, I need you to come with me because I'm gonna pick up some clothes. So I go with him, and I recognize the house.
We already talked about this.
It was his ex's house. And I'm like, okay, I confronted him. You lied to me. This was not your friend's house. When I picked you up, what were you doing? And he confessed that he had slept with her that time that I picked him up. So I was basically just picking him up from him.
Mr. Ramirez, you know how tacky that is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tacky.
I understand, but at the beginning of the relationship, if I'm honest, the language was a barrier. You know, I'm barely still getting Spanish along, but at that point it was pretty basic, and it was hard.
How does that have to?
Is your ethnic background, you're not Latin?
I am. I'm Cuban Nicaragüense.
Okay, but Spanish is not your first language. English is your first language.
English is my first language.
Okay.
I grew up in Texas, but so the language barrier just made it hard to kind of establish a deep connection. You know, because I know how to say get here, get there, and yes and no in Spanish, but like to really like go in deep and woo her over and do all those things, it was a struggle.
So
we literally talked about it.
You slept with her because I didn't speak English properly at the time?
No, it wasn't the speaking English. It was the fact that I couldn't build like a deeper connection. It was just that. There was not a deep connection in there that I felt like I was longing for that. And I didn't have that at that moment, and she was somebody that I did have that with.
But we've got through that, okay? People never get over it. I do want you to understand, because it'll always make them feel some kind of way. So then what you have to do is work hard to rebuild the trust. So I'm assuming he rebuilt the trust. You all continued in a relationship, but you started off by saying there is financial abuse in the relationship. So help me to understand that.
Abuse would be like the right.
Now, that was the word, and I want to see
Yeah.
if it was too strong. Let's be fair, right, Mr. Ramirez? Let's
Yes,
see.
so he didn't have a car. We're using only my car. So he used to take my car all the time. So he told me he got into an accident, but it was not his fault. He left the place of the accident. And 2 hours later,
Wait a minute now.
That leaving sounds like
let
I
me
ran away.
finish.
Yeah, but I didn't run away.
Okay, so 2 hours
be in
later,
prison.
I get a call from the police officer that was at the scene.
Yeah.
And he told me that that was considered hit and run because, of course, he left. He told
That
me.
is a hit and run.
And not only that, at that time I found out that his license was suspended. So I was liable for all of that.
I didn't know that it was suspended. They told us
Well,
literally that
then,
day.
That's not my problem. You're the responsible
But
one.
the intention wasn't like driving around with a suspended license either.
Okay,
I unknowingly,
but
right?
you
There's
were.
an unknowingly
If
thing,
you-
right? Between
okay,
driving knowingly
if-
and knowingly.
If you're a responsible man, then you would have known that.
By the way, Mr. Ramirez, Miss Hernandez's English has gotten a heck of a lot better.
Praise God.
She
praise
know
God.
how to make a case, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He wanted to get a new car. His credit was low, so we had to put it under my name. The agreement was that he was gonna pay for the car, and we were going to share the car.
How much money did you bring with you to the dealership so that you could buy a car?
0.
How did you expect to buy a car?
The grace of God.
Okay. So, Mr. Ramirez, just thinking about this, that put everybody in a trick bag. So you did have to go to court. You had a suspended license, and on paper, at least, it looked like you had caused an accident.
Yes.
Let me guess,
paper.
your insurance goes up.
Exactly. So my insurance goes up. After
Ugh.
that, I don't know how he went out of there driving because the car later on, we couldn't drive it anymore. So we were without a car. And he wanted to get a new car. So he looked for a 2013 Mercedes-Benz. And
Y'all make that kind of money?
No, I didn't look for it. It was what was given to me. I didn't look for it.
I don't understand. Somebody gave you a...
No, it was more like that was the only thing that the dealership was willing to give me. I tried to go get another car, right? The Mazda. It was in a shop. When I went to pull up for it, they were like, "Oh, you want this car? It's in the garage. They're pulling out the engine. Actually, the only thing we want to give you is this Mercedes." That's not my fault.
Okay.
the agreement was that he was gonna pay for the car and we were going to share the car.
Because your car is already busted and messed up.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So he had his credit was low, so we had to put it under my name. That day I paid $500 for the registration, plus $500 to get the car out of the dealership for the insurance. After that, he couldn't make the payments for the insurance for multiple months. So I paid a total of $2,000 that year in insurance only. And he used the car mostly. Like, I barely used that car. My credit went down to 650, and now he's 700 behind. So.
Mr. Ramirez, I mean, is Ms. Hernandez accurately describing the facts?
I mean, to a certain extent, yes. You know, that's
What
how.
do you mean to a certain extent?
I didn't go to the dealership to try to put her in a crippled situation. Originally, I was going to the dealership. My goal was to get the car and have her be a co-signer.
Well, so here's my question. How much money did you bring with you to the dealership so that you could buy a car?
$0.
How did you expect to buy a car?
The grace of God.
Okay. God helps those who help themselves. So seriously, Ms. Hernandez, in fact, bought a car. You didn't buy a car, you bought a car.
Originally, it was my bad credit. That's why they put it under name. I work as a teacher.
I understand.
So the summertime, I don't get paid. Most times schools, they give you either a 10 or a 12-month contract and they cut your pay so that you can pay in the summer. My school doesn't do that.
Okay, but you can get another job. That's what the other teachers do. That's what other teachers do.
I also work the ministry, and that's like something that I feel dedicated and passionate to do. I feel like that's a calling over my life, and I do feel like one day that will be a financial support.
I know, but until that is a financial support, how do you help support your household?
I mean, doing hustles here and there.
Okay.
So my music, one way to make money off of the music is doing events and stuff like that. That was a goal.
But at some point, your fiancée can't handle the burden all on her own.
I acknowledge
and
that.
Ms. Hernandez is saying that you've reached that point, am I right?
Yeah, and also like, how are you gonna help me fix my credit? I saw a message and he was asking someone how much she charged for sexual acts.
I admitted that I was wrong, I apologize, but we had also talked about those things and we have grown from that.
No, we haven't. You gotta rebuild trust by trustful behavior. Ms. Hernandez, I'm concerned about these cheating suspicions. What makes you suspicious?
Those are real things, not just suspicious.
Okay.
But,
what actually
a
happened?
while ago, he was acting a little weird, and we were sleeping, and his phone rang, and something was like, check his phone. I saw a message, and he was asking someone how much she charged for sexual acts.
Okay, but we literally already talked about that.
I actually also saw pictures of like the hotel room. It was nothing super crazy, but he was in a hotel with an escort.
I don't have an excuse for those things, but then again, also when that situation came, I admitted that I was wrong. I apologize. I apologize right now. I'm sorry. But we had also talked about those things, and we have grown from that.
No, we haven't. This is why I keep saying this. I don't think people realize we live in a time, especially with social media, that you think that you can do something to someone and all you have to do is apologize. But it doesn't take the hurt away. And every time you do something in the future, that hurt feels again. Do you see what I mean? You can't rebuild unless you stop doing the behavior that caused the pain. But you also, there was something that you considered to be the final straw.
I woke up early. That again tells me, go and check his phone.
Spidey sense.
I go and I see this text at 5-something in the morning, saying good morning, from a girl. That was the only message. I was like, maybe this person sent this to the wrong person, maybe it wasn't supposed to be to him, whatever. 3 days in a row, I go to his phone, messages are deleted. This girl saying good morning at 5-something, which means she's waking up and she's going to text him good morning. And I confront him and he tells me that it's someone from high school. He says they're just friends. And I don't know, when he takes this test today, I would take my decision. If he lied about that, then I am done because I have already put up with enough.
Well, that's an easy thing. Because you asked us to do a polygraph examination. Let's get to the results. Will you please ask Mr. Yarborough to join us?
Good day, Your Honor.
Good day, Mr. Yarborough. Please state your name and credentials for the court.
Absolutely. My name is John Yarborough. I'm a certified polygraph examiner. I'm a member of the American Polygraph Association, and I've conducted hundreds of polygraphs for law enforcement, other public safety agencies, as well as professional and private polygraphs.
Mr. Yarborough, we asked Mr. Ramirez, other than what you told me today, did you have any sexual contact with that girl Ms. Hernandez caught you texting while in a relationship with Ms. Hernandez? That doesn't sound like one of my original questions.
It was not.
Mr. Yarbrough, you changed my question.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
What you doing changing my question?
Well, during the pre-test interview, Mr. Ramirez stated that he had had a relationship with that girl prior to Mrs. Hernandez. So in order to eliminate that out of the question, I changed it to while in a relationship, Mrs. Hernandez.
Okay.
Also,
there's
after
more?
further discussion, it was stated by Mr. Ramirez that there had been a potential sexual contact during the time of the relationship with Mrs. Hernandez in the form of a kiss of some sort. So I had to rephrase the question differently as well to state other than what you told me today.
Good Lord.
Yes, ma'am.
So to the question, what was Mr. Ramirez's answer?
His answer was no.
And what did the test results indicate?
The polygraph examination results indicated there was deception to that question.
No, there was no deception.
So in addition to all of the self-admissions, he still lied.
There's something going on that
He did
prompted a
not tell you.
deceptive
Next
indication.
question. We asked Mr. Ramirez, since starting your relationship with Ms. Hernandez, have you had sexual contact with anyone she is not aware of? What was Mr. Ramirez's answer?
Mr. Ramirez said during the pre-test interview that he had,
Oh, wow.
and it was a yes answer. And there was
So
a
you did not
self-admission.
need to conduct the test. Thank you very much, Mr. Yarbrough.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Hernandez, this is not your husband. There are several gentlemen who are on my jury, and my bailiff is here, and I'm gonna ask them all to be big brothers right now to this 23-year-old fabulous young lady who has accomplished so much in the 6 years that she has come to this country that we all admire. And big brothers, we unanimously say, it's time for you to step away from this toxic relationship. You got too much going on. You are fabulous. You are smart, hardworking, gorgeous young lady. You don't need to take trifling from anybody. Stand up straight. Stand up straight. You deserve more than that. Ms. Hernandez, are you able to walk out or are you continuing?
I am.
Are you?
I am.
Prove it to me. Corey, escort the plaintiff out of here.
Sure will. Ma'am, you want to come this way?
I cannot believe that you lost the best thing that you could have ever had. You lost her because you didn't deserve her. You broke her heart, but she's going to put it back together. And that beautiful, fabulous young lady, she could go to the Publix, buy 2 dozen eggs, and have a new man before she leaves. That's my verdict.
You got this. You're strong. You need to focus on yourself. And did you hear what the judge was saying to you? You understand exactly where she was going with everything?
Yeah. I do. That gave me strength.
Yeah? That's good. So you ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. So you got big plans and move on with your life and things will be better for you.
Amen.
Trust in your faith.
Amen. Yes.
Amen.
Made in Georgia.